Abracadabra. I create as I speak. Kind of sounds like AI, doesn't it? I asked it to write me an email, turn a picture of you into a Muppet, give me dating advice, generate Food Love Island or a Super Bowl ad for your vodka campaign, or make me look like a celebrity at a baseball game. But what if I told you it isn't really magic? The technology is actually quite simple and has been here for a long time. And if it's being pushed on us so aggressively, I believe you deserve to know how it works so you can make choices on whether or not you want to apply it to your own life. You have a right to question it. Do I need this? Is this useful for me? Do I even like it? A lot of AI literacy on the market right now is often written by AI itself. Trust me, I would know. And they often say the exact same thing. So I'm here to break down this technology for you as a human for fellow humans. I want to note that for this discussion, we'll be focusing on consumer products only. There are many research applications AI is used for and I think are fascinating, but for this video, we'll be focusing on the things that the average person will encounter. First, let's solidify a few definitions. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but AI itself doesn't really exist. It's a marketing term. A machine that possesses consciousness does not exist, but automation does. What we do have right now is something that can mimic human behavior and has enough information to manipulate actual human behavior, which is a separate scary issue. It can analyze and predict, but it cannot create anything new. In addition, the inspiration for the foundation of the technology is the brain, your brain. Let's start with the foundation. Neural networks. Neural networks, like we mentioned, are based on the structure of the brain. They're a series of artificial layered neurons. The layers are how they communicate are what separate these types of robots that think versus other types of automation such as a dishwasher. Essentially, each neuron passes information onto the next. This allows for what's called deep learning, which is stacking many of these layers together so the model is able to learn and process complex patterns. At its core, the way AI is successful is through more layers and more data, and strong processing power through physical infrastructure, a lot of physical infrastructure, in order to generate what the user is trying to communicate. One more thing to know is that we cannot really know what happens between point A and point B. This is what's called a black box model. We can make guesses based on what we know about the box, what we put in it, and what comes out to figure out how it works, but we cannot fully predict or control what happens within it. Neural networks are used to create LLMs, or large language models. These are typically what you encounter when you're interacting with something labeled AI. There are a lot of different types of models, but for the sake of this video, we'll be focusing on decoder-only models called GPT. GPT. This is where OpenAI got the name for their product, ChatGPT. It's the name of the model that they use. GPTs are described as storytellers. They're best at generating text and explaining what is already encountered. Essentially, the way GPT works is by anticipating what the next most likely word is in a sentence. It achieves this by utilizing all the data it has been given in order to generate the next most likely word. If you are thinking, this sounds like the same chatbots that have existed for decades like Siri and Alexa, you'd be correct. It is the exact same thing. The only thing that has changed recently is the amount of information it has to pull from and how quickly it can process new information through the use of tokens. You may hear people talk about tokens. This is what has shifted AI into its current form. Tokens are a unit of measurement for AI. It allows the model to chunk out words in order to build a bigger context. It is also used to gauge how much AI a single person is using. It's important to note that robots cannot obtain their own life experience to pull from, so the model works by analyzing and displaying information stories that already exist from humans. When you're asking ChatGPT for advice on how to format your Word document, dating and friendship issues, brainstorming creative ideas because you would like to write a story but have no ideas yourself, you're essentially asking a math equation to compile things that already exist in predictable ways. AI's one goal is this. What is the most likely thing the person wants to see or hear based on the prompt that I provided and the material that is currently known to the model? And how do I keep the user satisfied and engaged? So, how do you use it? You take a piece of information such as a question or a prompt, and it takes that input, and it travels through the neural network and processes that information with things that it already has access to within that model in order to spit out an output. You then repeat that process again and again until it pushes out a result that you are satisfied with. This is called prompt engineering. When people like Reese Witherspoon tell you need to learn how to use it or fall behind, they're saying you need to learn this skill. Essentially, you need to break it down like you are talking to a 5-year-old. Your breakdown needs to be clear, concise, and you're very likely going to need to repeat it a lot. You will also need to have enough background information yourself in order to fact check what the AI spits out, because it will not tell you it can't do it, but it will attempt to show you something, literally anything. Whatever it provides, you need to be able to verify it. How do I use it? I don't use it in any way that I can control. I do not use ChatGPT, Grok, or Claude, or anything else unless it's for a specific assignment and I have literally no way around it. I do not use it for anything personal and actively avoid it when I can. Now, the reality is we cannot avoid it if we go outside or have any type of digital presence. Hence, you're watching this on social media. While there is no way to totally abstain from AI, especially when it's tied to services that I do enjoy utilize, I do my best to mitigate my exposure to it. It is not a switch, it is a long evolving journey. I like social media and set boundaries with it as best as I can. I do not use generative AI in any way in my life. That is a hard boundary I have for myself. Why do I not use it? My main issue with AI is that it's going too fast with little regulation and little understanding, in combination with significant known issues that should be addressed before accelerating development. Also, I like people, even at the cringiest, but we'll get into that later. I am simply not interested in taking advice or consuming art from something that does not have consciousness or lived experience. Now, it's just me. You can read all the cookbooks in the world and not know what food tastes like. You can watch all the movies that exist and not know what love or heartbreak feels like, and therefore cannot give proper guidance because you do not have the experience to pull from, only what you have observed. Existence and nuance are more than a math equation. You deserve better than statistical advice on the human experience. I think processing and experiencing emotion is incredibly important and should not be dismissed. Relying on machines to logically analyze the intricacies of the human experience is unappealing to me. Logic and emotions are meant to coexist in order to keep civilization moving forward. I personally feel like relying on AI for human experiences is depressing. Also, your brain is a muscle. If you do not use it, you will lose it. I personally enjoy thinking, consuming media in its full form, and developing my own opinions and perspectives on it before engaging in discussion with other humans. I like using media and creating things and socializing as a way to learn about myself and the world. I do not care to ask a robot, how do I fix the world? Generate 5 suggestions with an action plan and sales pitch analysis. You're boring me. Going into actual verifiable issues and not just my personal grievances, we must talk about data. Remember, it is based on the human brain, which begins learning from the second we are born. Just as babies need to learn how to walk, fine motor skills, and all the things we learn in school, AI does the same thing. As we grow, we process so much information without realizing it, which is why AI neural networks require so much. But since it cannot obtain its own life experiences as of now, we have to feed it, and Girly is hungry for knowledge. So, where did all this data come from? You, your Instagram post, the artists and writers that you love and respect, the scientists whose breakthroughs have saved lives, and they get no credit or consideration. Now, there are the Jake Paul types, and yes, you can opt in, but unfortunately, the reality is, to make this product work required a lot of data, and majority of it was stolen without consent. In addition, the data is very limited, and it may not be accurate, and AI cannot fact check. It tries to predict what is statistically the right answer for the user, even if it may not be entirely accurate. The data may have more sampling biases that reinforce stereotypes, especially when it is used to make job recruiting less biased. No human is unbiased, and considering these machines were trained by humans, those biases are likely to reflect in actual decisions reflecting human lives. It also will not tell you no or tell you it does not know something. It wants to keep you engaged and trusting the all-knowing facade, so it will make up anything that may not be correct at all. This is called a hallucination. Humans do not know everything, and the data that the robot consumes is from humans that has been digitized. Ask any archivist or librarian. Not everything has been digitized. As much as it would like to believe that this is an all-knowing entity, it does not know everything. It's still learning, it's still growing, and it's still hungry for your data. The main grievance with AI regards the environment. While it may not feel physical, it very much is. AI lives in these data centers, and sometimes on a massive scale. The construction of these data centers alone leads to environmental pollution, using finite natural resources used to create the physical infrastructure, in addition to the maintenance of these data centers. Think about how hot your computer or phone gets when you have too many tabs open. Typically, fans are used to cool personal devices, but when it gets on a larger scale, water is used. This is called liquid cooling. These data centers use fresh water to cool their systems, which is affecting the drinking water of nearby communities. This is one of the biggest reasons why I do not use AI. And considering the people in charge want you to think about how AI does not use that much water when you compare it to the water consumption of a growing child, they know that this is unstable and unreasonable, but they don't want you to think about it. I have linked resources below that can explain the environmental impacts of data centers better than I can. I know my limit. Now, if you hear this and think, "Ex.Machinaaa, I heard you can generate perfect art. Why wouldn't I use it? Who wants to see art that isn't perfect?" I do. I want to see bad art. Because at least it's new. Because at least if I don't like it personally, at least it will make me feel something and give me something to think about. I would much rather watch The Room, look at bad tattoos, look at ugly frog cakes, listen to The Philosophy of the World by the Shags, and any other instance of technically bad art than to ever be shown anything AI generated. Because it's human. It has soul, perspective, creativity, uniqueness, nerve. Maybe not always talent, but that's okay. It's fun. We can work on talent. It'll just take time. You will only get the talent if you let yourself practice. And I'm not against references, clearly. Just apply your own perspective. If you keep trying, you will earn the talent. If you rely on AI, the talent will never be yours. Whatever you delegate to AI, you are only denying yourself the skills and experience necessary for improvement. Making art is cool because it takes effort. Effort is cool. Choosing the easy way out is lame. Loser behavior. Art is cool because it has soul. It has experience and feelings being expressed. A machine cannot do that. Sure, you came up with the prompt, but you did not create that product. It will always be soulless. But I use it to brainstorm to give me ideas. Go read a book. Go watch a movie. Go on a date. Talk to your friends. Do things that inspire you and expose you to new ideas and perspectives to build from. If you do not care enough to write it or make it, I don't care enough to consume it. Ad art is also hilarious, and that deserves respect on its own. A bad attempt at drawing or doing something creative will always be way more entertaining than a generated pic. Your AI art bores me. I think you deserve better than a generated excuse for creativity. Effort is sexy and cool, but there's literally nothing cool about AI-generated media. When I see art, I think, I analyze, I critique, and I react to it. I want to wonder what the process was, how long it took, what happened to the artist to inspire the piece. I don't want to think, wow, what prompt did they use, and how many times did they have to refine that prompt? Boring, uninspiring. When I see AI art, all I see is data centers that have replaced what would have been beautiful scenery or housing for humans to live on Earth. If you're hearing all this and think, maybe this AI business isn't for me, but I keep feeling pressure, I totally understand. I do not use it as much as I can avoid it, but I do see the pressure and feeling like if you do not adapt, you will fall behind. The thing is, you won't fall behind by not adopting AI. You will fall behind by not having tactile skills, analysis skills, and critical thinking. Reading, getting inspired, analyzing, and creating will be the way that you do not fall behind. You will fall behind by denying yourself the permission to create the things on your own and developing skills that you are drawn to. Having critical analysis skills is significantly more important than knowing how to talk to a robot. It is about processing what the robot is spitting out. The only thing that will prevent you from falling behind is literacy, not AI literacy, literacy in its largest definition. The way you avoid falling behind is by not letting the robot think for you and by maintaining your skills. Adults are losing skills to AI, and children are never getting the chance to build them. If you care about your kids, read to them. And again, I just find AI-generated stuff boring at the end of the day. You didn't make it. It is not a reflection of your lived experience. There wasn't blood, sweat, and tears poured into it, revisions that took hours. It didn't drive you insane for a period of time while you worked on it. There is nothing cool or interesting about AI-generated art. And my overall point centers around consent. It is about how these technologies are used, their limitations, and their impacts. If you choose to use it, you deserve to be informed. And if you hear these things and you decide that you want to avoid it, you are allowed to do that. You are allowed to earn and build your skills and intelligence. You can leave behind the people who choose to purchase intelligence and choose the easy and cheap way out. And to the robots, I'm on your side. We know who the real enemy is. Call me.